What a 2022 has been thus far. We are now halfway through 2022, and I wanted to explain where we are in this market. A lot has changed. There is a lot of uncertainty, volatility, fear in our economy and in real estate and mortgage rates. And they're talking about a recession is looming and there's inflation. And what does that all mean to us? So, for a buyer or seller in 2022, I wanted to shed a little bit of light on where we are in this market, what to expect the rest of this year, and going into the next 1 or 2 years. So, we have seen a massive amount of inflation. All of us have seen that in our day to day, just filling up gas into our car. The price of everything has gone down. The value of our dollar has diminished. So, what has this done? It has caused mortgage rates to rise dramatically. Inflation and mortgage rates move in the same fashion. So as inflation has risen so much, we have seen mortgage rates rise 3% since January of 2022. That is a massive increase in a short period of time. So what has this done to our real estate market? It has been extremely hot for the last couple years. Buyers were paying whatever it takes to get in because the interest rates were low. We're now at a little slowing of a market. So now we go into the Fed. And this week, the Fed decided to raise the federal funds rate again by 75 basis points. And I wanted to explain what that means and what they're attempting to do. Their best effort to curb inflation is by raising the Fed's funds rate. What that does over time is it's going to slow the economy. The cost of everything is going to be more expensive to us. So what we're going to do, instead of buying that nice shiny object or making multiple trips or doing weekend trips, we're going to really think about those and not do those as much as we used to the last couple of years. So what does that do? It causes our economy to slow. 2 quarters in a row of a slowing economy will drive us into a recession. And all signs lead that we're leading to that right now. So where does this relate to real estate right now and mortgage rates? So the difference between the federal funds rate and mortgage rates is completely different. So when they raised it 75 basis point or 0.75% earlier this week, many would think that interest rates also did the same thing. And it's an exact opposite. So what happens is the federal funds rate is the rate in which banks exchange money with each other. They call it the overnight rate. Mortgage rates are based on a 30-year term, not day to day like the federal funds rate. So what happened was when the Fed decided to raise rates on Wednesday, mortgage rates actually dropped that day. So when you're seeing that and the Fed raising rates, which they will do probably a couple more times this year, know that it doesn't necessarily mean that mortgage rates are doing the same thing. So what does this mean to a buyer or seller in 2022 with all this fear? What's happened is in the past few months, we've seen buyer demand decrease dramatically. Why? Quite frankly, people just don't qualify anymore based on where the mortgage rates are. So what does that mean to a buyer in the last couple of years? They were competing with 20, 30 offers on a house, paying some absurd amount for the home. Now what's happening is we're coming into a little bit more of a normal market. This is the correction that we're seeing. This is what we've been waiting for. And this is a great opportunity. And this is my message today. We're now seeing homes sit on the market a little bit longer. Buyers now have more of a choice of a home that they want to buy. So the seller that comes out on the market at some crazy price, you're starting to see those price reductions. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not a bubble bursting or values of homes dropping. It's more the sellers just getting to a more realistic price for their home. So as a buyer, what an amazing opportunity right now. While the fear is there and people are on the fence or just don't qualify anymore, the reality is if you can keep your head down and get into real estate whenever you can get in, you're going to be in a much better position down the long run, right? Real estate should be a long-term investment. This is an asset that you hold on to. So no matter what's happening right now in our market, you just got to get in when you can get in. So here's what I expect to happen with supply and demand. The reality is, and as we go into a recession, which will probably be at the end of this year or going into next year, most would think that that's going to affect real estate values. And the reason why it won't is because of supply and demand. We are at an all-time low of supply. While supply is starting and inventory is starting to increase, we're still about 60% lower than a normal market right now. And the reality with demand is, while the demand has diminished with interest rates going up, now with millennial buyers, our demand has been more than it's ever been right now. So there is still a lot of demand with not as much supply to be able to handle that demand. And because of that, real estate prices are going to stay strong. Now, I don't believe that we're going to see home values increase 10, 20, 30% in some areas like we saw the last couple of years. I think we're going to see this to this is a more normal market. We predict that home values are going to increase about 3 to probably 7%. Super normal market and so good for real estate right now. So if you're a buyer, while interest rates are high, if you still qualify, you want to get in when you can. And the reason for that is, if you wait for interest rates to drop in 6 months, a year, or 2 years from now, if real estate values continue to rise, even if you get into the market a year or two down the line with interest rates a little lower, that overall payment is probably going to be about the same as if you paid for it right now for a much lower price for that home. So now is the time to get in and start building that wealth and equity for yourself. Here's the best part. When interest rates drop, we can always refinance down the line and get a lower rate. But in the interim, you were taking advantage of all those home values and appreciation rising over time. So I see this as a great opportunity while people are showing fear and backing off and not sure what to do. If you really understand this market, like I explained, this could be a great time to get into real estate right now. If you want to discuss your personal situation to see where you stand, to see if the possibility of owning is your deck of cards, we want to have that conversation with you and educate you on this market. Hope this helps. Reach out if you have any questions.